Good evening, and thanks for joining us for KMIR News at 6. I'm Angela Monroe. First on KMIR tonight, President Trump is condemning today's church bombings in Egypt. Two separate explosions at Coptic Christian churches killed more than 40 people on this Palm Sunday. And Egypt's president has declared a 3-month state of emergency in his country. NBC's Lucy Kafanov has details from London, a report that includes some disturbing scenes. Hold a contest to name the newborn calf. So I think that it should be something to do with taxes because it was born April 15th, which is tax day. So I've been trying to think of clever names. Do you have anything?
No. With a name that has to do with taxes?
For a baby giraffe.
Yeah, let me get back to you on that one.
Yeah, if you guys have any ideas, let us know. I know, maybe it's still too early. It's before 6 a.m. In 3 minutes, we'll be ready to think of a good name.
I'm trying right now.
Well, I think one of the most important things for folks right off the bat is it might be a little busy on the roads this morning. Why? Because Coachella Fest Weekend 1 wrapped up and folks are heading home.
Yeah,
First on KMIR tonight, a father shares the pain of the last 20 years after his son was kidnapped from his Beaumont home and murdered. On April 4th, it will be 20 years since Anthony Martinez was killed by convicted serial killer Joseph Duncan. Duncan pled guilty several years ago to his murder. The Riverside County District Attorney's Office is holding a candlelight vigil during National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Anthony's mother will be speaking at that vigil in Palm Desert Civic Center Park April 4th at 7 p.m. Anthony's father, Ernesto Medina, can't be at the vigil, but shared with us about his son. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for KMIR News at 6. I'm Angela Monroe. With Coachella comes 125,000 more people in our valley. And that often means a bit of controlled chaos. But one parent reached out to us, saying it's not about the crowds, but rather the content at an elementary school parking lot. KMIR's Tyler Harrison unravels the details about a marijuana community using one school parking lot. Now let's get a check on your forecast tonight. Amy Caraba is joining us, and it's amazing we still have a little bit of snow left on our mountains this time of year. It's amazing that it's still here this late.
That's actually something I love about the desert.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for KMIR News at 11. I'm Angela Monroe. First on KMIR, violence breaks out in Berkeley today. President Donald Trump supporters and detractors clashed, throwing the area into chaos. Police say that things escalated when heated words were exchanged outside the Martin Luther King Civic Center, and then fights spread out into the streets. Flags were burned and rioters used seemingly any object, including dumpsters, as weapons. Police say that rocks and bottles were thrown and multiple assaults were made against officers. More than 100,000 people right now are hanging out in Indio. Amy Caraba's here to tell us how the weather is for them out there right now. Janet, this land is prime real estate, and it's huge, 600 acres, 1 square mile, located between Bob Hope and Monroe Avenue. Now, it's been for sale for a while, but the for sale signs are new, and there may be new buzz behind the project. An aerial view gives us an idea of the vastness of this land. Janet, 2 California lawmakers are proposing a law that would allow bicyclists to just roll through that stop sign. They still have to observe the right-of-way, but not actually stop. Some people I spoke to want to put the brakes on that, while others say put the pedal to the metal. Do you know the penalty went up this year under the Affordable Care Act, meaning if you don't have insurance, you're paying hundreds more than last year. I spoke with a local woman who says this is the first year she hasn't paid the price for not having health insurance. Well, once you see this story, you're going to check your store receipts carefully. Proposition 30, a tax for schools and public safety, expired on December 31st. But it seems some people didn't get the message. Now, Brian, why do you think I would pull out a tiny little rubber duck?
Rubber ducky. I'm going to guess because of that video that trended when it rained.
Yes, exactly. Yes, he's got it. You guys probably all saw it.
We didn't plan that.
It did. It went viral after we aired it here on KMIR and put it on our website. A man riding a large rubber duck down a river.
Huge.
Are we going to see that kind of rainfall totals, or will my little rubber duck just have to go down a tiny little stream?
Put me on the spot.
Janet, the Canadian dollar is not gaining any strength right now. For about a year and a half, it's lagged. And while Wall Street is soaring, the amount Canadians are spending here in the Coachella Valley is dropping. Brian is my Valentine.
Angela.
And so I had to get
Angela.
a little bit of a heart, a little bit of chocolate.
Angela.
I'm sorry, it doesn't have an angsty message on it. Love stinks. Here you go, Brian. Movie Guy and Amy Zimmer. And see, oh, It looks like NSYNC is in the house. Let's hear what Lance Bass has to say. I'm excited. We'll no doubt be talking about the 89th Annual Academy Awards for a little while. Some big winners and some big confusion. Manny the Movie Guy is here to break it down for us. Gino, the man accused of murdering his girlfriend, says he doesn't remember most of that night, though he does say he remembers putting her lifeless body in her car. Michael Franco is accused of murdering his girlfriend, Jill Thomas Grant. Hello, and thanks for joining us for KMIR News at 11. I'm Angela Monroe. President Donald Trump's travel restrictions banning immigrants from certain countries prompted protests at airports across the country today. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for KMIR News at 5. I'm Angela Monroe. First on KMIR tonight, we're following an early morning nightclub shooting in downtown Palm Springs. Police responded to a fight outside of the Copa nightclub that's on Amata Road right around 1:20 a.m. Officers arrived to find a person who had been shot. Their injury is not life-threatening. The shooter remains on the run tonight. It has been a week of international tests for the Trump administration. The president remains in Florida today after hosting the leader of China at his Florida resort and making the decision Thursday to launch missile strikes against an airbase in Syria. NBC's Chris Pallone has the latest developments.